What's up, everybody? Happy Monday and welcome to the Early Edge. I am so happy with what's going on in the chat. We're already counting down the days to the NFL. Champ Bailey days away from NFL kickoff. Charles Woodson days away. Put in your favorite number 24 in the chat. We've got a great show for you today, but let's see how we did last Friday. A couple of picks from earlier in the week. This is a busy screen. We go 6-5 overall. A couple of these misses, like my plus 175 with Cam Davis, actually was a good bet. All those guys missed the cut. We just needed Cam Davis to be better than the other three that we faded. But overall, Buckets 2-0. Chip Patterson hits his plus 150. We'll take this 6-5 day considering the plus money with the wins and losses. So not a terrible day, not a great day. We got to improve upon it. And I think we have just the team to do it. First of all, that includes all of you in the chat. Farzad saying Rod Woodson, an absolute stud. Totally agree with that. Buckets is in here. We got Propstarz in here. We got my second favorite Zach in here. Buckets. I got to ask you, how's the volleyball going? I know that was a big topic of discussion on the Twitterverse over this last 3-4 days. What's going on with that?
See, I have my first actual lesson with a real coach today, so it's not going to be just me kind of winging it and hoping it works. But it's going well so far. I'm getting ready for the Olympics in a couple of years here, which I just realized are in the States. So that'll be fun because you can all come watch me compete for USA.
All right, Propstarz. I know you have a story to tell before we get to our pick. Zach, I want to go to you. Do you have a favorite 24? I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. Is it Charles Woodson? Is it Champ Bailey? Who's the better DB of those two?
I'm going to go with Charles Woodson, but overall, I've got to go with the Kobe with the Lakers. I know we're talking football, though, but I've got to go with Kobe.
Yeah, well, we had a Jeff Gordon shout out, number 24. Kobe, pretty cool from the Olympic team, winning gold medal on 8, 10, 24. Of course, 8 and 24 were Kobe's numbers, and 10 was his Olympic number. So really cool, just clash of coincidences there. Shout out Kobe Bryant. All right, Propstarz, let's change the subject a little bit before we get to Buckets picks. And I see you, Ray Brown, Wes Roberts, Rick Funkin, and Jeff Sternberg, Ray Brown, Jack. Hit the like button if you could. Thanks for being in here. We're going to get to our picks in just a second. But Propstarz, you may have maybe a home run parlay, and you have a home run parlay to give out right now, but it was inspired by, it's a long shot. It was inspired by something that happened just a couple of days ago. Talk to us about what happened at your local sports book.
Indeed, yeah. Less than 24 hours ago, I am standing in line at Alani Sportsbook in Washington State. Shout out to the great casino Alani in the Pacific Northwest. And there is a lady maybe between the age of 60 and 70 years young directly in front of me. And she's cashing out a ticket that had to be worth north of $25,000. I saw at least 5K stacks be presented to her in addition to multiple $100 bills. It was quite impressive. Definitely the biggest ticket I've seen cash at Alani, and probably the least likely suspect as well. After she filled up her purse, I watched her tip very generous $500 to the cashier. I was just dumbfounded. I had to ask. I inquired. I said, "Can I look at that ticket?" And I was told that it was a home run parlay and that this lady loves to parlay home run hitters. So I was inspired. I didn't quite make one that made that yields $25,000 or plus, but I do have a little two-leg parlay right here. I've got Corey Seager as well as Cody Bellinger to go the yard. Shout out Buckets at plus 3,005. So 30-1 odds on this home run parlay that we're going to play today as well. So shout out to that lady who had that massive score. Hopefully she's watching and tail this, and we can all hit this little two-legger, Sia.
Propstarz, for those not watching you on YouTube because you showed the ticket, and those that were daydreaming about hitting 25 to 30K, just give us those two names again. What's the home run parlay?
Yeah, I've got Cody Bellinger at plus 575 facing the Guardians, Ben Lively on the mound for Cleveland, and I've got Corey Seager against Brian Bayo from the Texas Rangers against the Boston Red Sox at plus 360. You parlay both of these guys, it pays out plus 3,005.
Amazing. I'm totally doing that. Everyone, by the way, these are maybe not for this lady, but these are just for fun bets, maybe a couple of bucks. We don't need to go crazy on home run parlays unless you really want to, if you have an immense amount of confidence. All right, Buckets, you were 2-0 on Friday. I've got an immense amount of confidence in your picks. Are you trying to go 2-0 today? You got 2 picks for us?
Yeah, we might as well run it back. I see no reason why to change things up if it's working how it is. So let's go to a little bit of Coppa Italia this afternoon at 12:30 Eastern. So you only have a couple hours to get these bets in. I'm looking at the matchup between US Lecce and Mantova, 19-11. And we're keeping the classic here. Both teams to score currently priced at plus 110. So I'm not trying to go 2-0 by betting a bunch of minus 200s. I'm going for where I think the value is best here. US Lecce is a Serie A team. They're playing in the top flight of Italy once again. And Mantova is a Serie B team that was just promoted from Serie C. So there is a big gap in skill between these two sides. But because this is a cup game, because it's so early on, and because US Lecce are so much better, they're going to rest some players. They're going to rotate. And Mantova, being the heavy underdogs, have no reason but to just do anything other than go for it. Go for goals. Coppa Italia has been a both teams to score machine. And at plus 110, I absolutely have to take this. Even though I think US Lecce probably wins this game 3-1, 4-1, I do think Mantova gets that one goal to cash this ticket. Then we're going to the big game that probably everyone cares about the most today. We're going to the English Championship in a matchup between two relegated sides as Luton Town will be hosting Burnley. Two teams that were in the Premier League just last season. They could not compete. They could not hold up. But they're playing again, and there's only one way to bet this game. And again, it's going to be the classic both teams to score. This is at minus 140. It's a little bit of juice here, but I would not risk parlaying this with the over. I would not take team totals. I would just take the juice at minus 140 because I wouldn't be shocked if this ends 1-1. Two very, very good sides that want to immediately make a big statement and get back to the EPL. Means that this could be a little bit cagey, but we can't ignore the fact that Luton Town has hit both teams to score in 18 of their last 20 matches and in 8 of their last 10 at home specifically. I love BTTS in both of these games, Sia.
All right, Bradley Jacobs says, I am also on Luton, Burnley, both teams to score minus 150. Love the picks, love the analysis. Let's try to go 2-0 yet again with my man volleyball playing Buckets. You know, Zach, I have a question for you about Vegas etiquette, but before I get there with you, let me give out the SportsLine pick, and then we've got an NFL and MLB pick with Proppy. We got your pick, Zach, and then, of course, I've got an MLB pick as well. All right, here's the first MLB pick. It's courtesy of SportsLine. You all know how to join SportsLine, and I'll tell you about it later on in the show if you're new to this one. But Astros money line, that's what we're going with. Minus 130. We got Framber Valdez. Almost had that no-no, 2 outs. I think 1 on. He gives up a home run, a deep shot that was a no-doubter. So he was very close to his second no-hitter of his career. But anyway, he's back on the mound against Taj Bradley, who's been pitching pretty well himself. But we got the Astros here on the road against the Tampa Bay Rays, who really haven't hit much lately. This one's at 6:50 Eastern Standard Time. And Propstars, you got a comment on this one?
I do. I'm going to propose that Buckets change his name while he makes his bid to become a member of the Olympic volleyball team to Chase Bucketster.
Oh, see, he doesn't get the reference though. That's the problem. He's so knee deep in volleyball. He doesn't know some of the players.
Oh, is that a volleyball player?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
former NBA player who made the Olympic volleyball team.
Yeah.
You're following in his footsteps, Buckets.
Extremely good athlete, just like Buckets, of course. All right. Let's move. Okay, before we go to Propstars, your picks, Zach, I got to ask you something, because when Propstars told his story about the lady in front of him cashed out and she tipped, you're from Vegas, she tipped the cashier $500, granted on a very big hit. I always thought, being a visitor to Vegas, that you're tipping like the table game guys or the poker dealer when you hit a big hand, you hit a big roulette spin or whatever, craps, whatever the case may be. Oh, do we have to tip cashiers too when we get a big hit? Is that part of the etiquette, or is she just being nice?
No, it's definitely a part of the etiquette. You don't need to go crazy. Give a few dollars. That's typically what I do. And actually, the way that I do it now has changed because a lot of people are going to be app based now. So I'm going back to the way when you're running up to the counter. It's a little bit of old school for me now, but I typically would tip about $5. You know, those ticket writers here in Vegas probably making $15 an hour. part-time now because they've changed the schedules because they want people on the apps, they want people on the kiosks, so they're not getting the hours. Tip those writers when you come to Vegas.
Interesting. Buckets, go ahead.
I just want to add to this and say that you should also tip your sports books. When you hit that bet on MGM, there should be a way to tip the sports book back to give them a little bit of money, keep it fair for everyone.
Yeah, no, totally.
But when I'm going in to withdraw the money from my app, I do not tip. So that's what I want to say. I do not tip from.
Yeah, if there was ever an option, there would be it would be frenzied on this.
Could you imagine you hit a bet on just a straight at a -120 and it goes congratulations, here's your ticket. Would you like to leave? And it's that 10, 15, 20% thing below it on every sports book. That would be sorry. No, I agree. Tip the ticket writers, but that would be hilarious.
Here's the thing: is I didn't know to tip I've never hit $30,000 or anything, but I've never known to tip the ticket writers. So, all right, that's good to know. I always want to be up to speed on the etiquette. Speaking of BetMGM, in case you didn't already know, new BetMGM customers can sign up today and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10, and you'll receive up to $1,500 instantly if your bet loses with bonus code EDGE. That's bonus code EDGE, EDGE. All right, we got to get to so many more picks, including an NFL future. We got a few MLB picks. We're going to do it right after this message from our partners. All right. Eric David says, I bet for the dealers, so we win together. Welcome back to the Early Edge, presented by BetMGM. All right, Proppy, let's get to more picks. We got a lot more to cover here. You're covering an NFL future, one I like quite a bit. And then you got something in baseball. Talk to us.
Indeed. Yeah, starting with a season-long prop. I'm looking at Ladd McConkey, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers. I love him to go over 725.5 receiving yards. I am very bullish on Ladd McConkey. I think he's going to be an immediate contributor, and he's going to step in to the #1 wide receiver role for this Chargers offense, who had quite a few targets vacated. No more Keenan Allen, no more Austin Eckler, no more Mike Williams, no more Gerald Everett. That's about a gazillion targets that have vacated this Chargers offense. McConkey is on a depth chart with Josh Palmer and DJ Chark. So there is room for McConkey to have a massive role right away. And I also think he's a very polished prospect that is NFL ready. There's a kind of a misnomer that he's going to be this scrappy sort of slot receiver. Not the case. He wins on the outside. Reminds me quite a bit of Tyler Lockett, actually. So I think we're going to see this Chargers offense, while I think they're going to run the football quite a bit, I think they're going to be a lot more efficient. I think they're also going to attack downfield. I could see McConkey finishing with upwards of 130 targets. That number feels closer to his floor, in my opinion, in this offense. The reports have been phenomenal regarding McConkey so far, developing chemistry with Justin Herbert. I predict, barring injury, he will cash this in November. That's how confident and bullish I am on McConkey. I think he cashes this in November, barring injury. So yeah, love Ladd McConkey, over 725.5 receiving yards. I have the number at 950, so quite a significant edge there. Then we're going to go to the diamond, a K prop here. Cincinnati pitcher Andrew Abbott. I am fading him under 5.5 strikeouts against the St. Louis Cardinals. First and foremost, Andrew Abbott, one of my favorite fade candidates for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, his numbers, basically under the hood, the advanced metrics are dismal. His strikeout numbers, his swinging strike percentage, or his whiff rate is terrible. It's 9.1%. Last year it was 10.8%. It's fallen off a cliff. Anything sub 10% is well below average. You could actually make the case, despite him averaging less than 1K per inning, that he's a serious regression candidate this season, and he's been performing above expectations, particularly in the strikeout department. Then he's facing a Cardinals offense. While they don't hit lefties particularly well, they do not strike out against lefties. They have the sixth lowest K rate versus opposing southpaws. They also have exceptional career numbers. Only 6 against Abbott, only 6 strikeouts and 47 career at-bats, including 1,000 OPS against him. So they can definitely shorten his night as well. Even if they don't, I think 6 Ks is a big ask against this Cardinals offense that is very stingy. So love fading Andrew Abbott under 5.5 strikeouts. I'd play it to honestly minus 165, minus 170. It's a bit juiced here around minus 140, but I do think there is some wiggle room. And then in the NFL, the season-long prop market, Ladd McConkey of the Chargers over 725.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, I do want to ask you, I actually want to comment a little bit more on the Ladd McConkey play because I absolutely love this play. But before I get there, I just got to get into my pick because talk about synergy. We don't talk about these picks before the show, but I have the Cardinals money line today. I am also fading Andrew Abbott. And as much as I want to fade him in the first 5 for all the reasons that Propstarz just said, that number is kind of prohibitive. It's like minus 155. And I think the reason we're getting the better numbers because the Cardinals bullpen hasn't really been that great. But still, I like the Sonny Gray matchup versus Andrew Abbott. Sonny Gray's starting to turn it around. His July wasn't very impressive, but the last couple in July, or I should say late July, early August, started to see some of that Sonny Gray that we know and love. And as far as Andrew Abbott, not only has he regressed, but he's also allowing the long ball. 6 home runs over his last 3 starts. This Cardinals team that doesn't strike out a lot and maybe struggles a bit against lefties in much the same way that the Reds struggle against righties over the last, let's say, 30, 45 days. But if you're allowing the long ball and you're in Great America Small Park and you got Andrew Abbott on the mound, well, he's the one allowing the long ball. I think it's really good fortune for the St. Louis Cardinals, who are just a game and a half out of the wild card. Cincinnati's still in the wild card discussion as well. They certainly haven't given up, but really like this matchup. I think this price should be closer to minus 140, so I'll go ahead and grab the minus 130 full game Cardinals money line. Real quick, Zach, before we get to your pick, part of the reason I love Ladd McConkey, Propstarz, and there are people commenting, hey, Harbaugh's going to run the ball. Like, yeah, but you guys have to understand that if a coach comes in and he's going to run the ball a little bit more, we're not talking like 70-30 splits here. We're talking about margins 2 to 3% more than the season prior, things of that nature. But what I really love about Ladd McConkey is that Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnston, like who is the alpha from a volume standpoint? It actually is Ladd McConkey. Josh Palmer's never going to be that guy to suck up, 10, 11 targets or even like 7 to 8 targets. Quentin Johnston certainly isn't that guy either. I think Ladd McConkey is going to immediately contribute, and his draft capital, 34th overall. Like this, they poured some draft capital into this guy. They're going to feature him for sure. Proppy, go ahead. I know you had something to add.
I would also argue to anyone suggesting that they're going to run the football. Of course, they're going to run the football under Harbaugh. But if we look at the 49ers with Colin Kaepernick, they still supported numerous wide receivers who certainly went over 725 receiving yards, and they were also a highly efficient passing offense under Colin Kaepernick with Harbaugh. So there is still plenty of passing volume, even if the Chargers lead the NFL in rushing attempts. So yeah, there is certainly more than enough targets to go around for Ladd McConkey to have a 1,000-yard season in that offense.
Let me add this before we go to Buckets, and I love that you're raising your hand here, Buckets, because I do want to go. I have a funny feeling I know where this is going, but real quick, I happen to think, and Zach, we're going to get to your pick. If you have any comments about this, because, reminder, Zach covers the NFL too. I don't think the Chargers are going to be as good as people think this year. Not that people are predicting them to win the Super Bowl or anything like that, but I actually think they're not a very good football team. And I do see some garbage time as well, just at least a little bit, enough to push this Ladd McConkey prop over perhaps in November, early December. Propstars, go ahead and then Buckets.
Last one, I apologize. See, I also would argue that this is by far the best offensive line that Justin Herbert has had since being in the NFL. He has had very little time to allow routes to develop downfield. So while they're going to run the football a lot, I would also argue that he's going to have the highest ADOT of his career. Despite having the big arm, Herbert has had a very shallow ADOT since he's entered the league. I think that the trade-off for more rushing volume will be more efficiency in the passing offense, and we'll see him target down the field more than he ever has in his career. He's certainly going to have the best protection that he's had, so I think that will benefit. The quality of targets, I think, will be drastically improved in this Chargers offense. The Chargers offense, despite being a high volume passing volume offense, recently was not very effective whatsoever. That's not going to be I think that'll not be the case this season. I think we'll see them be a lot more efficient.
Shout out the A-Dot, says Bradley Jacobs. Do you think we're ready for NFL season already? We just gave you 6 or 7 minutes on a single receiver prop on August 12th, 2024. All right, Buckets. I saw that smirk on your face, and it led me to believe, I could be wrong. It led me to believe, because I know that smirk. It led me to believe that perhaps you are going to challenge me to a showdown. Is this true?
That is true, but I am not capable of talking about baseball for 6 minutes because I don't know 6 minutes worth of baseball to talk about. So I'm going to keep it super simple here, Sia. I am 1-0 on my MLB showdowns. I was the one who predicted the White Sox would break their 21-game loss streak and beat you last time. So I'd like to give you a chance for redemption, but also give me a chance to make another $100 to fund my Olympic dreams. I will take the Reds against the St. Louis Cardinals. And the only reason I'm taking that is because I live in Ohio. So this is now my team that I have to back. That's my reasoning. That's all I've got. Are you down for a little bit of a showdown action, Sia?
So just to be clear, 1-0 over the last 5 days. The overall record, not 1-0, correct?
No, I'm doing that thing to where I want to make it look better than it really is. So it's like if I'm betting against or for the White Sox, I'm undefeated this season.
Jake, play the music. Wow. Liddy says she loves the Cardinals play as well. So this isn't just a showdown against me. It's a showdown against some in the chat. By the way, Danny Brasco in the chat as well. All right, Zach, let's move on. I've already got $100 banked, so I'm feeling pretty good. Maybe I'm going to put that 100 on your MLB pick today.
All right, so yeah, I'm going to go with the Atlanta Braves -108, where I can lean on NL Cy Young frontrunner Chris Sale to stop the bleeding for this Braves pitching staff that over their last 5 games, they are just getting crushed, giving up an average of 9 runs per game. We saw it yesterday with the Rockies. Tremendous comeback to get that win Sunday. But I'm looking at the Atlanta Braves here. Blake Snell, for the first time this season, he hasn't had any disruptions going to his 5th straight start. He had a couple of stints on the IL. He had the All-Star break to break up his return to action in July. And it was just 2 starts ago. He had the no-hitter. His last start against the Washington Nationals, he got into some trouble in the 3rd inning where he gave up three runs. So his innings pitched is on the rise. He's pitched 6 innings or more in 4 straight starts. I'm going to back the Atlanta Braves on a very good price, -108, led by Chris Sale.
Wow. Yeah, listen, this is an interesting game. This one's later. We got 2 good pitchers on the mound. I think you're on the right side of this, Zach. And I do want to shout out, by the way, Danny Brasco says, morning lads. I think that's paying homage to the Ladd McConkey selection. But if not, happy coincidence. Eric David says Cards money line plus Abbott under 5.5 strikeouts parlay is +170 with a risk-free promo at MGM. Just saying. Thank you for calling out the BetMGM promos because they're everywhere. I mean, I'm telling you that these BetMGM promos, they're just always popping up. You don't have to click on something to see where the promo is. They show you what promos you have available anytime you make a bet, which I absolutely love about BetMGM. It's a little different than some of the other sports books out there. Oh, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we pretty much covered it all. We even got a showdown in here. I'm looking at some of the comments. I apologize if I didn't get to your bets. I know there's plenty in the chat, but let's take a look at the recap screen before we get out of here. I'm on the Cardinals money line, -130. It's me in the community versus Buckets, of course, in a showdown. Braves money line for Zack Cimini at -108. Buckets, Lecce, Manitoba, both teams to score +110, and Luton, Burnley, both teams to score -140. Propstarz, Ladd McConkey over 725.5 receiving yards at -110. Get that before it shoots up. Andrew Abbott under 5.5 Ks at -135. And our SportsLine pick, we got Framber Valdez on the mound against Taj Bradley in Tampa, but we're taking the Astros money line -130. What a great Monday. What an absolutely great Monday. Liddy says, good luck, everybody. See you tomorrow. Love that. We'll absolutely see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, 10 o'clock in the morning. Get all our picks before the show on SportsLine. Just a reminder, if you want to join SportsLine, it's sportsline.com/join. You get 60% off our annual plan just by typing in the promo code winners. Again, 60% off the annual plan. Type in the promo code winners at sportsline.com/join. You get everything, including the articles that Eric Cohen puts out. He had Aaron Rye as your winner at the Wyndham, and so did Mike McClure. So many picks that are on other shows or on the site that aren't necessarily on the early edge. So you got to be a member to look for and cash those tickets as well. Ladies and gentlemen, what a great Monday. On behalf of Jake the Snake on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s, on behalf of Zack Cimini, we didn't get a mouse update, but perhaps the mice, buckets, Propstarz, and that lady who cashed in for $30K at Propstarz local sportsbook. Let's cash that home run parlay as well, folks. What a great Monday. We'll see you on Tuesday. Let's cash some tickets. I'm the counselor of cash. We rest our case.